Okay, this lesson for the Koine Project class speaks to the elective plan of God throughout the history of the lineage of Jesus Christ. I just finished a book collaborating with Eddie Johnson. We went to seminary together. He was the Missionary Baptist Student of the Year. I like to tell people I was the runner-up, which isn't true, but it's fun to say. But we completed it yesterday, and when the book comes out, it's called Quantum Apostle, talking about the book of Romans, Paul's letter. But we were observing the pattern of this providence of God when it came to the three pairs of children. And we'll just look for a moment under patriarch. You have Abraham, David, and Isaac. Of course, in Romans, when it talks about those whom he previously knew, he really highlighted Abraham and David, and showing how remarkable it was, how God worked unto the good these things. And of course, we have much context for that. But so we have this pattern. The first son is rejected for purpose. So we had Ishmael, the flesh. We had the nameless child, David, which the child died in judgment. And we have Esau, who was in the chronology, that is this lineage here. And we have the second son's chosen, that's reasoned out. Isaac was promised. Solomon, grace, Jacob, calling. So you notice you have faith versus effort, the theme, redemption versus consequence, service and status. And then, of course, our little pattern, we've always used this, or not always, but for quite some time. None of these, Abraham's not David's, not Isaac, not Abraham. You see the pattern. But all of this is according to the elective pattern. And what I'll do is when the book comes out, I'll put a link to it. But until then, I'll just include the description of the information and let you notice it. Because in no case, in no wise, in spite of the failures of Abraham, the horrific things we noticed with David, and then we saw the issue of Jacob and Esau. And of course, Jacob means trickster. And all these other circumstances that we would, I guess, looking back and imposing some type of standard onto others in the Bible that we wouldn't often apply to ourselves because we like to be the observer and step back and apparently talk as though we couldn't be involved in some of their lapses. But the thing that was remarkable about it is it's all about assuring that Christ came into the world just as God had intended it, and in spite of the fallen, finite, fallible, mutable, sinful men, through whom and according to whom and in spite of whom God worked this elective plan. And of course, I get really bored having to say, now this is not unto eternal life, this is not this, it's about service, but that's because people in our Western culture, we've just reduced this down to a binary, to some type of election. Just means you were picked to go to heaven, which means since you can't know if you've been elected or picked, as they teach, then it's a pointless statement. Actually, God's rationale and reasoning is involved in the very word elect itself, which definitely contradicts the Western culture's view that has been reduced to something that's quite unintelligible and incapable of even being discussed, actually. So here we have, it's really good, but you can see the tragedies, you can see the triumphs, but to think that nameless child reflects judgment, and then to think of Abraham taking matters into his own hand to bring about what was only by promise. But I've already stepped out of the way, you've already seen it, but that's it. I only got time for a few minutes today. Circumstances obviously beyond my control. Have to get down to the church house. There's things we have to get ready for tomorrow. And then I'm working with two different families right now. So you have a blessed day and enjoy this lesson.